Holy shit! Okay, so I already try to keep this stuff spoiler free for footage, with footage I use and everything. I try to pick and choose like what actually add into my videos. But when it comes to a game like this, when a lot of this is about atmosphere and actually like seeing it for yourself for the first time, it's I think it's just best to not include any footage at all because what I could think is nothing particular. It's something that people have, pretty much you have to see for yourself. A lot of it involves you walking around and being surprised by subtle things here and there. So it's easy to just talk about that stuff and not include any particularly spoiler moments. That being said, it's kind of obvious on my opinion of this game is right now because I already usually at least include some footage. So in fact, I'm saying no spoiler footage at all. That kind of does like shows my bias a bit. But anyway, like always, I'm gonna go ahead and start my breakdown of this game and like why I felt the way I felt with certain things and what I feel they accomplished and what they're lacking, whatever if they lacked anything, and like, just pretty much general breakdown of this whole game from my perspective. Okay, and now Grace, this is the true survival horror experience. Give very few bullets, less resources to craft tools for survival, not a lot of storage space. Whenever you feel like you really got to handle the situation, the game amps it up a bit. So many things you will also do inadvertently change the world around you, like walk around a new enemy that might appear, or enemy from another area starts wandering around where you were normally safe at, and you just don't know how it's gonna happen. Just even like on the second playthrough, that was happening. I kind of you start to figure out some triggers, but at the same time, you really have to like really pay attention and really understand everything. So it's not something you just want like in if it's in Resident Evil 2, like just wander around and at a certain point the RPG was just fine. I perfectly understood it. I knew you killed all the zombies and I never saw another zombie there, but this time I can kill all the zombies and like maybe like a big zombie from another area is now walking around the house. And sometimes I'm like, was there somebody on the floor before? Because like I walk into a room and then this guy comes up. I'm like, even on the second playthrough, I was like, was he there before? I kept trying to remember. I don't think he was. So he might have shambled in, like then fell down or something like that, and then like when I walked by, that's when they like got actually. I'm not sure. And these are actually mostly standard zombies with a few special ones. Once you're stripped down to nothing, like just basically basic tools and like survival stuff and all that, it's still pretty bad. It's a because you're a base human, you got nothing special going on. We're dealing with zombies. It's gonna be a terrible time. You don't get a lot of bullets. Like you can't craft that much. And every time you think you have a lot, the game's like, nah, nah. So you definitely keep your wits about you and everything. It's a lot of strategizing. Sometimes you have. I was personally, as Grace, I was always crouched down. If I noticed I wasn't crouched down, it's because I did something, whatever. And the only time I was running was if I'm near what I consider a safe area, and I just like run to book it. Or like, let's say I know I have to do something, and then I just want to advance to the next spot, and I just run there. Most time I was crouched the entire time. So they really made it so the grace parts make you feel uneasy and tense, and they very much succeeded in that quest. Oh, now the Leon.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Resident Evil 2 premiered with Leon in 1998, and this is based in 2026. So he's been fighting bioweapons for almost 30 freaking years. You definitely get numb to that whole horror experience. Like they said that the reason why they picked a new character like Grace is because all these characters they've been having games so far. After a while, they stopped getting scared. They wanted someone who's like really getting scared and really like, tense up in situations. But Leon, he ain't like that. He ain't like that. It's he's worked for several organizations, worked for several different groups, fought so many different monsters. Uh, since his RE2 days, like I said, almost 30 years ago. So the man is always staying strapped. His inventory, it's the size of RE4 inventory, but it's not the equivalent of playing RE4 Leon again. No, it's not even RE6 Leon. It's pretty much the same way of switching between Ethan to Chris in RE Village. It's even a bigger jump than that because he didn't at least have a few types of guns and stuff. Well, Grace pretty much has. But Leon, oh, this man is a fucking arsenal. Jesus Christ. You have all the tools for the job. So if you run out of ammo, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. That's on you. That's all I gotta say. Especially if you're not on sanity difficulty. Sanity maybe, like, I haven't played that yet, so that's like a whole other chore, but if you're playing on standard or casual or modern, all that, you should always have everything. Like, you sure, like, you won't have enough shotgun ammo, or maybe you won't have enough SMG, or maybe you won't have enough rifle, but you'll have another gun. This man, his own boss themes. He has his own boss music. Because when you were playing as Leon, the big bad isn't the BOW. The big bad is you. And they know it. I still remember a time when I played a part as Grace, and I played the same area as Leon. I was just running around, cleaning shop, and like through enemies that were just kicking her ass. This man, he's on another level. He is playing a whole fucking different game, and devs let you know it. So, this appears to be the perfect blend, in my opinion, of survival and action. Both types of horror, of course. With Leon, of course, being action horror, Grace being survival horror. Now, RE6 failed in numerous ways, but one of the things, the most common critique I've heard when it came out was it doesn't know what it wants to be. And, like, where it means you had pretty much 6 characters, 3 campaigns, and there's also DLC and everything, but 3 campaigns, and they didn't really know what style to stick with. With the way they did with this, they succeeded where that failed. Because this instilled fear when you played as Grace, and then as soon as something was really amping up, it rewarded you by letting you play as Leon. Like he was prize. He was your reward after suffering. And some of the stories do overlap, and sometimes one is before the other, and so I think narratively it really works, especially in their favor. And it really makes sense why Grace is scared, because even though she's a trained FBI agent, like all the trauma she's been through, survival skill, all that stuff and everything, but at the end of the day, she has not experienced this. Like, you gotta remember that Leon does not work for the FBI. He does not work for the CIA. He works for a government agency exclusively built to tackle this crap. Like, you gotta remember, it's like when you play as a superhero and then play as a cop. Even if it's a superhero that has no powers, than playing as a cop. It's a different experience, of course. Like you're like Grace wasn't trained to fight these things. She didn't even know she was gonna fight these things. She just like so this like, she was completely unprepared. So of course like what happens to her with her and everything? She's stuck in this place. Gotta get out. Has nothing at her disposal. Meanwhile, Leon is he came in to F stuff up. He came in with all his gear, fully stocked, fully loaded, ready to get like messed up. Like so, for him, this is another day in the office. Like he was here. He came exclusively to do this job, and that was it. Like RE9 was a nightmare for Grace. It was a job for Leon. And then when they mix that into the story, back and forth, and went it all in, I think they did a very good job. They knew what the assignment was. They knew. I don't know how they went into it so well, but they did. It's congratulations to them. Like people think, oh, tone shift is like, just impossible to do. No, it's just gotta do it right. They did it right. So writing in this game is good. Leon's jokes to the whole situation going on with Grace and what brings them together, as well as what might put them apart in certain parts and how it all works together in the end. And I'd say there's about one part in the story, like near the end, that did kind of irk me. It's not like bad writing, it's not a plot hole, it's just something they did that I just kind of feel like it seemed kind of unnecessary, right? Just to please some people, I guess. But it's not anything I need to knock it down like grade or something like that. It's just something that happened. So I'm not going to bring up that much of it. But despite this having a lot of Leon in it and being deeply rooted in earlier entries of Resident Evil, it is not fueled by nostalgia. Like, yes, you're going back to Raccoon City, but at the same time, this is the ninth entry of a long-running series. Sometimes long-running series, like after a while, every entry is just like self-contained, and like you have the characters, but like their adventures are just like you don't have to know anybody. Maybe you know like one character and that's it. But this, like I feel like it brought it back full circle to not just RE2, but kind of technically to RE1, because kind of like talk about Umbrella's legacy and like, the origins and stuff. Like so, kind of touch on all that, not just Leon stuff. There's stuff in this game that I feel like is not just aimed at Leon. And you definitely get the full experience if you know Leon's story, though, and not just jumping in. But I consider that something that you should be doing regardless, because once again, ninth entry of a ninth main entry of a series. And of course, you don't have to know I'll play all the games, right? Still, like if you know it's gonna be a previous character starring that was in many of the previous games, at least try to find something out about that previous character. I know there's always some people going, well, this is the hot new game. I may as well just get it and then buy and just not know anything about it, and then that's it. And you can enjoy the game because it has good gameplay, it's good story, all that stuff. But I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice by just doing that. Because once again, there's multiple characters with several decades of lore and story and everything that you can't really just get by just jumping in. You can like get a feel of the series and everything, but I feel like if somebody died, you're not gonna care, or if you do care, it's because like you like maybe it's because it's basically if certain characters die, you want to care even though you didn't know anything about that character. Meanwhile, that character could have been from RE3, RE4, and then the people that play that game will understand it. There's nothing. So Grace, of course, is a brand new character. Her mom isn't, but she is. It's so she's brand new character and everything. But Leon S can be is series anchor. So I feel like if you're gonna play a game where he is also one of the playable characters, and you know he's a playable character, not just I've seen like he's seen that hack out hair before. Like he kicks a lot, maybe right. He makes jokes, kicks a lot, has nice hair. That's all you know about him. Like I feel like you're kind of destroying yourself. And this isn't not really just an RE thing. It's something I feel like with a lot of big titles, like every time a new game comes out, people just want to jump on it and that's it because it's a hot new thing. And I just had a rant on it while talking about Resident Evil. But it applies to many things. But anyway, it's just they still have nothing to do with the story itself. Either way, I would say the story definitely does have more weight if you know what you're getting into. So one of my friends said that Resident Evil has now become a gold standard for long-running franchises moving forward, and I wholeheartedly agree. You don't even have to like have this as your top Resident Evil game. Like, but this once again, this is the ninth mainline game in the series that is 30 years old. Not only is the ninth mainline game, there's about 25, 26 other games all together. Like if you don't consider the numbers, there's so many series that have effed this up in shorter amounts of time, and even Resident Evil itself stumbled like every like 3 or 4 games, they just mess up, and then they have to pick themselves forward. So they continuously rebuild themselves, rebrand themselves, and it's just great how they did that. There's a lot of games like they crap out after like third or fourth entry while trying to make another spin-off or trying to make like another sequel that didn't need sequel two and everything. And there's a few times when this I admit like it's like if they didn't add Ethan and Rose in the latest games, I think they may have lost some people. Well, like because I'm not sure if Village would have been done as well if it was just about Chris, or if RE7 was just about Chris. It'll be Resident Evil. That's all it would be. But it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be as good as with Chris. Mm. So this was supposed to be the last main entry with main characters, like Leon, and maybe like they're like I say main because they said last time main characters like Leon and all that stay in these games, but like they might just go around and say the last numbered one. Like they could create a whole other spin-off series that's just Leon and Chris, or just Leon, Chris, Jill, and Claire, and all the others. Who knows? Just kind of like how Resident Evil Revelations was originally made for to make like as at the time Resident Evil was more action horror, and it was going very balls deep in action. So they made Resident Evil Revelations to make it more scarier stuff. Now they might have like Resident Evil Legacy as a franchise series where you just have like the other characters doing some other stuff going on while the main series has like new people having like horror experiences and stuff. I don't know how they're gonna move forward from this, but they definitely left this series in a great spot, and I'm kind of curious what next gonna be. Like this game, they already announced DLC plus like some extra content coming in May, so I'm gonna watch out for that. And who knows like what they do? Like who knows what's next? Could we 10? Could we remake this? Because they did like there are rumors for 2 games from Zero remake and Code Veronica. So it could be those two that are the next. Could be 10 in a few years. Who knows? Like the series is not over. It's just that they're like retiring some characters. we'll see what happened. But all I know is that I was very, very pleasantly surprised with this game. I already was interested in the game. I wanted the game, and it was already on my wish of I'm gonna get this game. But then I think sometime around maybe January, I really was really get into this, and then I didn't expect I would love it as much as I did. Of course, right now I'm taking a rest from this. Now that I've done the second playthrough, I have enough maybe an RPG or maybe like some actual challenge guns and everything like that. But first experience, even second experience, were very great. It's highly recommended. What song was it playing? Hold on. Do you know that she ever eaten this game? Oh my god, what the fuck? Hold on.